Good morning, everybody. Hey, it's another day. It's actually afternoon. It's like 10 o'clock. I went and helped a guy, took the dump truck and picked up a bunch of block and stuff for a guy that's building a house in the neighborhood. But anyway, back on the Corvette. Today we're going to work on the power steering. I thought we had the power steering done, but we do not. Evidently the fluid hadn't made it to the ram for some reason when I did calibrate it. Well, I thought it was already calibrated, right? But it was just the fluid wasn't there yet. So now that I've run it a bunch, now when you start it, the steering wheel slams to the right. So the fluid's made it. That's good. That's the positive. I put some more fluid in it, of course, several times, just make sure that it stays level. But yeah, we'll need to unhook the ram, and then we'll need to calibrate it. And basically, it has a on the system, it has a cap that comes off, has a nut underneath it. You turn it counterclockwise, the ram should go in, and when it starts going in, and you then you turn it till it just starts coming out, and then half turn back the other way, and then you stop. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to attempt to calibrate this again because we didn't calibrate. I say again, we didn't calibrate the first time. I just thought it was good. Wasn't. So yeah, let's get busy, get working on that. All right, so I was completely backwards on this in my head. It is sucking the rod in all the way, so I will need to go clockwise on the friction nut, which is here, until this rod starts coming out. Then I'll go back till it just starts going in. And then I'll go back clockwise half a turn, and that should be set to where it needs to be. So I got to fire the car up, and then we'll work on this rod, see what happens. This will be interesting. All right. All right, so that was interesting. That wasn't what I was expecting. When it starts moving, it really starts moving. So we have it centered, and then we turned it. We did it, and it started going in, and then we did our half turn. So that should be set now. So we will hook this back up. It does move. It said that the guy said you could move it, and it does move. So there we go. All right. I guess we put the cap back on this thing too because we're done with that. The UPS man came, put a box in here. I didn't know he was in here. Got a little fluid leaking down here, and I really haven't figured out where it's coming from yet. Everything's tight on there, so I think it's just going to have to exercise itself. It's probably one of those things that just hasn't had any use, so it's got to kind of figure itself out. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that and see what happens with it. All right, very good. Now let's try her out, see how she works. Way better. that's perfect. Perfect. All right, so mark that one in the books. So that's great. Power steering. I'll check that fluid though one more time now that we've run it and cycled it back and forth a few times. But that'll knock that off the plates. So now the other thing I gotta do is, even though I've bled the brakes several times, I'm gonna have to bleed the brakes again. They're starting to feel, you can start to feel them, but they're still on the floor. I mean, they're just right above the floor. So I gotta cycle those one more time. I'll have to do that when my wife has a break though. And then, yeah, we'll be in good shape. We'll be in good shape. Okay, well, let me get checking that fluid, and then we'll jack up the back and get it on jack stands. Probably take all the wheels off, and then we'll just work on brakes until we get it right. Let me clean up my mess first though. All right, so my wife just came out and helped me out, and we just re-bled all the brakes. There's a lot of air in the rears. Whoops, kicked all the nuts. There's a lot of air in the rears, so we got those to where I can't move the pads anymore. They're really squeezing good. I do need to set this emergency brake though. It's a little loose still, so I'll have to work on that. But yeah, so that's good. So that's should be complete. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so I think I'm gonna move on. I wanna get the reverse lights are always on, so I wanna do that. And then I need to pull all the fuses and put the right fuses in, because I didn't have the right fuses. I need to do that real quick. Actually, I'm gonna do that while I'm thinking about it, so I'll get the correct fuses in the correct holes, because I didn't have enough of the right ones. And then we'll go from there. I did a little cleanup while I was waiting on the wife to come out, which it needed it out here, you know. It needed it out here, so I started doing some cleanup. And then I'm going to go through and just kind of figure out what I have left and what needs to go where, you know, kind of thing. So, all right, well, let me work on that some more, and I'll get back with you and give you an update when I get these fuses in. All right, another problem I was having is the reverse lights are on all the time. I've taken the linkage off, and I flipped the switch. The switch works just fine. It turns them on and off. What I've determined is this is on upside down. The linkage should be at the top, and then this should go across to the top of the linkage above this and pull it back and forth. We'll see how it fits when we get it up there, but that's what I'm thinking. So let me pull this off. We'll switch it around and try again. All right, so I'm glad I'm under here. I just figured out another issue is that power steering controller is just leaking like a sieve under there, and it's coming out of the top pivot bolt. So I'm gonna have to look that up and research, figure out what I need to do with that. I may have to order a new one, or if there's a seal or something I can replace in there, maybe I can do that. So we'll have to see what's going on in there. I would think it'd be under a lot of pressure. I was hoping it would seal itself up, but man, and I just got under here, there's a pile of fluid under here, so. All right, well, we'll get back to this and then we'll go on to that, I guess. So we got to flip around on there. The reason I didn't think that went that way is because the wires have to come back this way. So they're coming back up that way. So I just thought, why would it go this way? So I don't know. Anyway, I guess that's the way it goes. I don't know. We'll see here in a second when we do the reverse and forward. So let's try it out and see what happens. So the key's on and there are no lights. We'll put her in reverse here. All right, that's reverse. Hey, and we have reverse lights. All right, so it's just on backwards. All right, put her back in neutral and we'll check her out. Yep, very good. All right, that's a mystery solved. It's always something in it. Another issue there I have is my flashers and blinkers. I don't have blinkers. I have flashers no matter which way I put my blinkers on. Nope, that's actually working actually. This one's faintly. And this one's faintly blinking too. That's weird. That is weird. That's bright over there, but this one's. All right, now that one's blinking and that one's faintly blinking. That's weird. Yeah, and their hazard lighting up front. So I'm not sure what that's about. We got to figure that out. And then of course the side marker, these front side marker lights are not coming on no matter what. So I'm not sure what's going on with that either. Yeah, see, those side marker lights are not on. Whereas these ones are. Tail lights are on. Not very bright though, but they're on. That marker light's on. Headlights are definitely on. But yeah, no marker lights. So, and then the blinker lights are on, which is weird too. So we'll have to figure all that out. All right, right now I'm just buttoning up, putting these little plates on here, just closing up some of the holes that are supposed to be done. Access panels, whatever. So I'm gonna get these on there real quick. Can't really do it with one hand, so. But yeah, the screws were all loose for the actual size that goes in there, so I'm just gonna go a little bigger and it'll hold. So, all right, let me get on that. All right, that'll keep the dirt out of there. That's really just an access to the frame bolt, so body to frame. All right, well, let's move on to something else. Got those on. All right, so while I was looking for blinker lights, because I had the old bulbs in the back and the new LED bulbs in the front, so I kind of wanted to check to see if the new LED bulb was the problem causing me issues up here and making the blinkers not work right, which very well could be because it's probably not drawing enough amps or something. I don't know. So while I was looking for bulbs, the old bulbs, which I can't find by the way, I found this, which is a GM clamp seal kit, which I believe is the seal for the power steering thing. So it looks like I could tear that apart and put this in. Just wish it was leaking. I knew it was leaking from the beginning. I wouldn't have done all the work to it, but regardless, it is what it is. So I will have to pull that apart. It looks like, it's weird that, yeah, see it's dripping right there. It's dripping right now, but it's weird. So it looks like I could drop this out of it. I'll probably have to drop this so it'll hang down. Maybe even that, but I think if I undo the clamp here, it'll hang down. And then hopefully, I don't know how that works, but hopefully I could just put a new seal in it. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like the seal goes underneath that clamp. Maybe I could just put a new seal in. I don't know if that clamp's all the way down either. What I'm gonna try first is clamping this down more, and maybe it'll pull that seal in there tight. Because I think that's what's leaking through is just that seal. Yeah, I mean, I guess, my educated guess anyway. What a mess, huh? So regardless, worst case scenario, I pull this off and I have a rebuild kit for the seal on top. Yeah, okay, well, there you go. Does that look like it's out to you? I think I better check that. I think I better check that suspension bolt. I better start making a list. All right, so that was crazy. I mean, it wasn't even tight, so I tightened it up to where, I mean, it has a stop and everything. It has a size stop and everything. So hopefully that stops the leaks. We'll see. I'll let it sit for a while and check it again. I don't want to get too excited, but it seems likely that it was. I mean, it was so loose. So I don't know what's going on with this car. I need to get that tightened up there too. That should not be that loose. I don't know. Well, maybe. I don't know. It might lock in somewhere. Let me crank on it though and see if it go in. Looks like I got a leak up here too. I need to tighten this down a little bit too here. Yeah, probably have to tighten that down just a bit too. All right, so here's where we're at. Power steering is still leaking. when it starts, it does puddle when it's just sitting there idling. And then if I go do the power steering and then run it back and forth, it stops leaking. So I don't know if that's going to work itself out or if it's going to leak every time. I do think I have a rebuild kit for it. That does look right. So I could tear it apart and rebuild it. That may be coming. But when I was going over to do the fuel pump, I decided I was going to suck it up and redo the fuel pump. And I had coolant pouring all over the place. I had to take off the correct clamps and put on boat clamps. And I double clamped it, boat people, to get that to stop. So that has now stopped. We got it from leaking, I think. So it hasn't started again anyway. So we're good there, I think. Oh, that was miserable. So now I'm covered in coolant, so I'm probably gonna go scrub up. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hey, I did some digging for a friend this morning, and then I came in and I thought, you know what? I got this in yesterday, this beautiful HEI distributor. Let me go outside and just pop the wires in for it, because it has a special wire. You have to replace the wire. It's actually just bigger. But let me tell you, I thought I was just gonna pop that sucker in, and no way, Jose, it was not that easy. Let me show you up underneath here. I think I got a flashlight still underneath here. Yep, and it's still on, so it's a good thing I'm checking. But I got up underneath here, and you have to plug it into the electrical box, which is right up there, which seems easy, but it's not. You can't get to the wire. You have to stick a screwdriver in there to pop the lock on it. So I ended up taking the whole thing out, which is a total pain with all the stuff in here. Before all this was in here, it's easy to put in, but with all that in there, it's terrible. So got the old one unplugged, got the new one plugged in. I haven't really zip tied it yet. I'm going to zip tie it to the main harness here all the way up. I'll probably put the excess down here. That's why I haven't done it. But yeah, what a total pain to get that sucker in there. But like always, we got it in there. And then I thought, you're not filming any of this. Not that you want to see me fight with a wire, but I should have filmed it. So I ran in and got you real quick. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. I got the wire right there. So I need to mark all my lines and set the distributor to a place that is recognizable. I don't know if I'll do top set dead center or not. Just depends on where the flywheel is on it. I'll look for it. No, it's close to being on something, a third, I think. Oh, actually it's, yeah, top dead center is right there. So it's like a quarter turn off. But then we'll get it to something recognizable, the distributor cap, and then we'll mark all our wires, pull them off, and then we'll set this in the same kind of place, with the rotor being in the same place and the vacuum being in the same place, and we'll drop her in there. We'll rotate the engine until she drops in. Hopefully it's pretty close. We got to lube her up first, and then we can worry about setting in and all that stuff after that. So that's kind of the plan. That's where we're at. It should sit pretty identical, honestly. So if that's there, I do like that it looks like this is going to be more at an angle where the tachometer goes in, because I can't get it in on this one. So it looks like if you put the vacuum in the same place, it looks like it's going to sit at an angle, and that's really nice. So that's an improvement too. And then we'll hook our wire up to this where it says battery. It also has a place for electronic tack if I decide to do that later. So pretty cool deal. Yep, but this will get, my big thing is not to have points, right? To get away from points. So there you go. All right, let's get the sucker in. Yeah, so the next problem I'll have to do is I'm gonna have to replace these wires. I knew I was gonna need to replace them. I thought just because they were bigger, but they're actually a different kind. These are, you know, a male going into a female, and on the new distributor, it's female going on to a male. So yeah, you know, Zip tells you they're pretty good about telling you what you're going to need. They told me that I was going to need this pigtail, which I obviously do. And then that takes the battery, which makes it just a bigger wire. It's going to take a lot more voltage up to this. It's going to plug straight in. This has got the built-in coil, all that. So all I got to do is take this and set it in there and take all that stuff out. And then I'll redo all the wiring. They say to mark the wires, but I don't think I'm going to need to do that, because I'm going to just go by the book. So, all right, we'll get this set. All right, so I got to introduce you to my new dog. Let me call her real quick. Tank, come here, Tank. Here's Tank. There you go. That's our new dog. Hopefully she'll like it out here in the garage. I know the other one does not like it out here at all. She's with her mama. But yeah, this is Tank. Because he's the size of a tank, or she's the size of a tank. Yep, and she's tough and mean. Not true. All right, let's get back on this. All right, so ran into an issue when I read the instructions that came with the new distributor. It says to put label the wires and put them exactly how you had them in the old, which, you know, whatever. I have to replace the wires, so I'm not going to do that. And it's marked in the book. But when I went to the book to make sure I had this picture of where they go, the firing order, I found this, and it says for V8 engines with electronic HEI ignition systems, put it in a different order. But that's not what the instructions from the distributor said. So I called Zip and talked to Corvette and talked to Rob. They're always great there. And Rob's like, no, disregard the Haynes manual. Go with the original firing order. That's what these distributors are set up to be. So that's cool. I'm glad they were there to answer that question, because I would have got really badly confused. So anyway, I'm going to take the cap off here so I can see where this thing's pointed. We'll get it pointed in the right direction. We'll get the vacuum hose in the same place. We'll drop the new distributor in. We'll rotate till she drops, and then we'll bolt her down, and then we'll start running wires in the original with point type ignition systems order, because that's what they said to do. All right, so I'm glad we got that straightened up. Let me get to work. It's always something. It's never easy. It's never just like 1, 2, 3, is it? But hey, I think that's part of the adventure, part of the puzzle, part of what makes life interesting. So let me get back on this. All right, some of you are like, what in the world are you doing, idiot? I couldn't get that thing to seat. I kept trying to turn this. I cut my finger really good trying to turn the motor. Anyway, I played with that thing and got it to seat, but now I don't trust that it's in the right position. So, so I pulled the spark plug, and I'm going to keep twisting the motor as hard as it is to get it into the top dead center. And if it's pointing right, I'll know it's right or whatever. If it's not, I'll set it to where it's right. Yeah, just kept moving it. I think I moved it a notch or something. So we'll see when I get her turned around. But my problem with turning the motor is I don't have the right sockets. And I know with all this stuff up here, you'd think I would, but I need, you know, what is this, a 9-point, 2, 3, 4, 5, I say a 6-point socket, as opposed to this Brazilian point, right, in 1/2 inch. It just doesn't fit the bolt right, see? But when you get not, I mean, it kind of strips, these kind of strip, they just don't hang when you're putting that kind of force on there. And so I don't want to strip that bolt out. It's already was kind of worked when I got the car. So yeah, that's what I'm struggling with. That's why it's so hard for me to turn the motor. Then I try to do it with 3/8 because that's what I have for the 6 points. And I sliced my finger on the dang fan. Yes, I had to hit that because I said a bad word. All right, so anyway, I need to get going on this. I'm going to rotate the motor until it's top dead center, and then I'll know that this is in the right position on the compression stroke. It was, of course. So that's what I'm doing now. So I pulled the plug so I can make sure that I'm getting, you know, the pressure, and I'll get it to, and I'll know that that is top dead center when I get it cranked around there. So that's kind of what I'm working on. Yep. All right. Just wanted to explain myself. All right. So it's crazy that you can't find the 6-point socket for nothing at Lowe's right now. They just don't have anything for Cobalt. I could have bought a whole Craftsman set. I ended up buying this 3/8 extension arm and then just using the 5/8 socket, 3/8 drive, and it worked fine. So I got her spun around to top dead center, and she's where she's supposed to be. So it's right where it's supposed to be. So now I can lock that arm. Oh, it came back up. Son of a gun. I did not realize that came up. Well, ain't that a party pooper? All right, well, I got to get that to drop down now. But I know it's in the right place if I just take my time and let her drop. I can't believe it. Came back up. All right, so this is taking me a while. You know, I know I'm probably going to edit this because it's just going to be me underneath the car on the other side, me underneath the car on this side. But what I did is I had to loosen all the spark plugs to turn the engine easier. So it was worth the fight. I had to, you know, I'm going to have to run the wires to all those anyway. I am digging this. I mean, that big coil's gone, and it's all part of here. The tachometer actually hooks up correctly, so that's really nice. Yeah, so I am digging that, really liking it. It's going to be a pain to do those spark plugs because it has these spark plug runs underneath here. For those of you that do Corvettes all the time are like, yeah. But for those of you who don't, you have this channel here, which this side isn't bad. That channel, that silver thing there, the wires run inside that. This side is not terrible, but the other side, it has the starter in the way and a bunch of other stuff, so it's not going to be as fun. We'll manage though. We'll probably have to take it off, loosen it all up, get our wires under and tighten it all back down. Then I'll put my shroud, my exhaust shroud covers back over, or actually my wire covers back over. They keep the wires cool from the manifold. You know, it's a process. It's a process. You know, something that should be 2 seconds, yeah, turned into a big deal. Just like this steering pump and everything else we're doing just turns into a nightmare. But we're going to get it. We're going to get it. We're trucking along. I mean, you know, we just got to keep working at it and we'll be fine. So on that note, yeah, on that note, I am going to probably start running wires. Tank, what are you doing? Get up here. What do you think, Tank? You're a garage dog. Guard dog, huh? You're a big guard dog. Tank. All right, I don't want to get you too dirty. All right, so the wife is telling me I need to come in. She says I need to play with Tank for a while. And we have dinner. And I need to take a shower. Anyway, I got one side done, so it's all sitting on there nice. I'll tuck the wires a little better as we go. But she's looking really good. This was the easy side for running wires. The other side is the tough side for running wires. My flashlight's still on here. Yeah, I'll put that on the charger. But yeah, it looks really good. It's kind of fun doing this. It was a kind of a pain to get it to the top dead center #1 position, but I didn't want to screw around, so I thought it was important just to make sure, and it was correct. But yeah, So we're working off that, trying to get these on there. The picture is a little different because it's round as opposed to being all crazy shaped. But yeah, they said ignore the HEI and go with the original positioning. So that's what I'm doing. So far, so good. All right, well, that's it for me today. I'm going to go inside. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so the wife's telling me to come inside for dinner and to play with the tank, which will be fun. But we got the driver's side done, got the wires in, lined everything up. It's looking really good. That was actually the easy side for wires. This side has the starter in the way and a bunch of other stuff. And there's things I want to tighten while I'm under there. So the other side this side will be tougher. But we'll start that in the morning. I'm beat. It's been a long day. Did some digging this morning and then started into this, and then had to go get the right tool to get that done. But we got it done. We got it to top dead center. We got everything lined up. We double checked. It's down in the groove like it's supposed to be. So I think we're in really good shape. Again, we'll get those wires on this for this side done tomorrow. It's the hard side, but yeah. So that's going to be it for me today. There's probably a lot of video that's going to be edited out because this is just going to be straight boring. I'll try to keep the highlights of me turning the motor, me, you know, things that you can see, but I'll just cut all the dead weight out of that. But yeah, I'm excited. It's looking really good. One thing at a time, right? So 4 cylinders to hook up, and a bunch of plates to put back on and dress her up. But we're in good shape. All right.